Hello, this is Eileen. I'm part of the team on Mentee Kills Project. Thank you for joining us this evening. So tonight's live will be about intention. But while we wait for Christiane to come on with us, Sia Canoeable, I'm going to tell you about myself a little bit. My name's Eileen Chan. Um, where to begin? It's not easy always to talk about yourself. So basically, I'm an aspiring esthetician. I want to be a medical esthetician, have my own side business. I reside here in Pennsylvania, and me and Christy go way back. We knew each other from high school, and then we were roommates in college. And I'm loving what she's doing with her podcast as well as this live, just to bring awareness, which is not, um, I feel like not fully, I won't say promoted, but mental health. So I'm a big advocate for that as well because I'm a big person on helping promoting healing, which is what I feel like everyone needs. Everyone, whether you know it or not, needs some type of healing um, regarding any kind of trauma that you have. So I'm a big advocate for that, and I've actually decided today that I'm gonna go for it and being my own type of healer. And you'll see it later on as we go on with these lives and series that me and Christiane will be working on either lives or also we started a series called the Ascension series, which talks about ascension. It's basically what I guess you could call your soul's evolution, but that's just another series that we have not done another episode yet. We just did one. Um, but yeah. Um, what else? So let's just say what made me start want to promote healing for everyone, because anyone who has some type of, I won't say ailment or mental, I don't like to call it mental disability, but basically any uh, mental health, I say issues, because at the end of the day, everyone has dealt with some type of trauma in their life, and whether you know or not, it is can be generational. And I feel like me as well as Christiane or helping would like to put the information out there how you can heal from it, and there's many methods on way to do so. Besides a therapist, that is one avenue you can take, but it's sometimes therapy is not just enough. um, I do apologize, I'm not usually the forefront of these lives, so I apologize ahead of time if I do dart when it comes to what I'm speaking about. And excuse my pillows in the back. Sorry. But yeah, I am excited to be here to be doing this with Christiane. I love her, and it's amazing to see her journey as well. But yeah, so whoever's viewing, you can always comment and ask any questions about me if you're interested. This wasn't, I'm not sure how well Christiane did promote tonight's live, but yeah, I'm excited for tonight's episode with living with intent, with intention, and what else? Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about, but I'll just probably just begin with my own healing journey, which eventually in the near future I actually decided today to go forward with making my own content when it comes to my own, I guess you can call, healing journey, which sparked my own I don't want to call it spiritual awakening, but more like an enlightenment. So I've been on this journey for about 2 years, and it's insane how much I have learned in since then. It began in December 2020 when I had COVID. I had to be completely isolated by myself, and that what sparked it, because I finally had to sit myself alone and was alone with my thoughts. And best believe I understand you don't want to be alone with thoughts, because sometimes you can be in your head and just like get stuck in those negative thoughts. And but yeah, when you sit alone with your thoughts, it's not always a bad thing, because then you sit there and reflect, and then you end up learning a lot about yourself and everything that has come into your life. You connect the dots when you sit and reflect. So I think that's one start in your journey, because best believe, whether you know it or not, I feel like everyone is going through it. And I mean really going through it, which is something that I would call what I call Dark Night of the Soul. Now, if you don't know what that is, I would look it up because I can't tell you word for word exactly it is. But what it is like, you're going through it and you feel like extremely depressed. But best believe it's a good thing. When you're depressed, you're just sitting there and those thoughts and like I don't know how to say it. You're just going through it. You're like, oh, I'm just about to give up. And you may even have those suicidal thoughts. And best believe it's I don't know how I can say this. Basically, when everyone's going through it, it's because you're not living from, I guess, what I would say the heart. You're doing something that you already know that it's something that you don't really want to do. One of these questions you need to start asking by yourself if you feel like you're really depressed and you have anxiety or whatever it gets me, you're worried. Sit back and think about, okay, if money was no object, what would you really be doing? Answer that question for yourself. Sit and reflect. Go back to when you were a child and before those naysayers saying, oh, you can't do this, it's not practical, it's not realistic. What would you actually be doing if you could do it when money was no object? Think about that. These are like little tidbits. Eventually, I will be making my own content. I'm making my own YouTube channel in the near future. One channel will be about skincare, which I'll be calling Morpho Glow. I'm still working on my channel, which will be another one who is touching on my own life experiences and lessons that I've learned and spirituality, which I want to help people teach as well, learning from my experiences as well as my own healing journey. And then I kind of fell off with my skincare, but I'm trying to get back into it because that is what I went to school for, which is sharing my tips with skincare. Because I feel like when you're glowing, you have the best skin, it helps boost your confidence and in turn learn to love yourself. So another thing that I want to say when it comes to healing yourself is learning to love yourself more. So you know that phrase when people say, "What would Jesus do?" Now, I'm not trying to pull religion this, but you've heard this question before. But I like to turn around and say, and now this is not something that I coined, but this question that when I follow a woman, her name's Teal Swan, she was like, okay, what would someone who loves themselves do? Well, if you really loved yourself, what would you do? What would you do if you really loved yourself? Would you continue to sulk in sorrow or be sad every day about living in regret or whatever, things that may be going on in your life? Because just believe everybody's going through it, okay? Everyone is suffering some type of thing in their life, which, you know, it's all about your mindset at the end of the day, which is easier said than done because we're so prone to just thinking negatively. Um, but once you shift perspective, your life can change. And let me just, I again, I'm sorry, I dart because I'm still working on being an effective, articulate communicator because I intend on making these kind of contents and creating a YouTube channel and unfortunately probably I'll probably be on TikTok as well because that's where people's at. But yeah, drawing a blank here. Let me see. Christie's. Okay, yeah, Christie's ready. She's ready to be on. But that was my little spiel. I didn't get too much onto my own healing journey, but that's a story for either a later time or it could be tonight. But if Christy, you're ready, you can go on because I'm like darting here. But yeah, Christiane should be coming on very soon. She is ready.
It's me. I'm ready. Sorry. Hey guys, you did great. I think you did a great job for your first time leading off a live. I'm trying to include more team members so it's not just me all the time because everybody's getting tired of seeing me. I know it, even though I'm like cute or whatever. So yeah, look, my little headband matches my.
Oh, I love that.
It's a whole vibe. So you did great. I'm excited for you to start your YouTube journey, and I'll be right behind you to help you out with that. Probably right after this to get you started. But today is about living with intent. And that's why I was really excited when you were like, what's today about? Let me join in, because I'm like, this is perfect,
Yes.
because we do everything intentionally, period.
Yes.
Everything is done with intent. Now, I'm going to get into the basics of it because I got to hit them with the dictionary facts. But let's start with what is intent? And intent is, boom, an aim or a plan. That is what the whole big picture is. But it is also a mental state, which is why it's tied into mentally kills. It is a mental state that involves an action plan. If you don't have an action plan, you don't have intent. So, like, I intend to get the dishes done today. That's a plan. But you got to put the action in it too. Period.
Absolutely.
It is a cognitive skill, but it is also not an emotion. It is a reason for doing things. We don't feel intention. We do intention. It's the reason that we do something. It's the purpose. So, a quote that I read earlier that I like that I put in too is, we judge ourselves by our intentions and others by their actions. I was like, damn, okay. I wasn't ready for that. Sometimes I'd be on Google looking up quotes and I hurt my own feelings. Like, wasn't ready to be attacked today, but okay. You know?
Sometimes that's a message we needed to hear or say. So it's
Right.
true. I get them all the time.
Yeah. Intention is a determination to act a certain way. We are meant to do things out of love and positive energy.
Absolutely.
Positivity. So when
That's
you do
what we're
things
here to do.
right, you ever hear the term good intentions? Positive intentions, the same thing. You never say somebody said, oh, you're thinking that with midway intentions. No, it's either good or bad, or positive or negative.
Yeah.
You either have bad intentions, like half the songs I hear on the radio, or you have good intentions, which we need more songs on the radio about, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So how do you do things with intent? And that's really just being purposeful in pursuing your desire. But it starts with a plan, people. Everything starts with a plan. Unless it's plan B. Then that's like the secondary plan.
It doesn't have to be some grand plan.
Doesn't have to be a grand one, no.
Baby steps, okay?
That's right. So we'll get into that in a minute, because I'm going to get into the steps on doing that. But there's something that I wanted to express, because I hear a lot of people say, or you may have heard, well, it wasn't my intention to. So direct intent is when someone intends for a particular consequence to an act. So for example, somebody cheated on you in a relationship. They directly intended to hurt you. They directly intended to cheat. What they didn't intend is that your feelings would get hurt in the crossfire. I didn't intend to hurt you means it means they're not shifting the blame from them. They know they messed up. They just didn't intend for you to be so upset about it. Still shitty, but intention. That's,
They didn't think about it, so.
Yeah. So I look at it this way. Say you're building a house. The house is the main goal to be completed. You're then doing baby steps, such as putting the walls in, putting the floors in, etc., etc. But without the foundation, which is the intent, the house is going to crumble no matter what you do, because the intention is not there to build the house. Making sense? Hey, look at me. I'm like, what's his name? Oh, damn, I was about to, Gandhi. There you go. I was about to sound all smart. So where do we start when it comes to living with intent? First of all, again, it's living with a purpose. Do everything intentionally.
And from the heart.
And from the heart. And stop apologizing. Because if you do things with good intent, you won't need to.
Exactly.
So, number one, it starts, I'm pretty sure there's a typo here. And there is know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you can't have a purpose. You don't have intent. You're not going anywhere. If you don't have an intention to move forward, then you're not going to. Because it all starts with that mindset that I am going to be different than where I am now. Period. Second, Eileen's favorite, stay positive.
Easier said than done, trust and believe, but you will get there. It's all about a shift in your mindset and perspective. So practice it. You can program yourself to stay positive. Obviously, not in all situations, but it's possible. And trust, believe, when you start having that kind of mindset and positive, like, the positive mindset and positive perspective, you will radically see change in your, I wouldn't say reality, but best believe everything's always going to work out in your best interests if you do.
And here's why. Because energy doesn't die, people. It just shifts. And when you put negative energy out, yes, I'm talking to you, sis. When you keyed his car, that was negative, okay? That's going to come back to you eventually.
Absolutely.
If you do things positively, positive will come back to you.
Yeah.
The only place I don't want to be positive is on a COVID or a pregnancy test. That's it.
Yes. Trust, believe that don't, easier said than done, but try not to judge and also think negatively about other people, because that will come back to you as well.
That's true.
Not helping out other people.
So what I also like to say, and it's something, and there's a little story behind this. I don't know if I told you this or not. So I have the ability on my email on my phone. I'm sure most people do, but nobody plays around with the settings. I have a signature set for my email, my business email. So I don't have to type all that out every time. I was sending an email to a friend, and in the signature, I changed it to be funny, and it said, "Stay positive and keep testing negative." The problem with that is I never changed it back. So I'm sending business emails out, which I send at least 10 to 15 a day. And I'm like, oh, no. And I didn't know until one of my clients had messaged me back, and they're like, "That's hilarious." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I look at them, I'm like, "No, oh my God." Like, it was bad. So
when you're laughing, you're bringing your heart vibrations up. So
that's right.
That's
right. There's two ways you could do that: by plugging in your vibrator and by being funny. And that's it. So again, staying positive is the first, I think, way of setting your intention. Before you even set your intention, you got to do it with a positive mind. If you don't think you're going to smash your goals, you're not smashing shit. That's it. That's really all there is to it. In order to smash your goals, you have to think positively. You have to believe that you can achieve those goals. So
that is so key.
Yeah. Next is remember what you're working for, people. Remember what you're working for. You got to stay focused on what you want, or you're not going to get it. You can think positively. You can set the intention, but unless you keep remembering what you're working for, you don't have the drive or the motivation to keep going. Yeah. That's it. Next, and most importantly to me, keep it simple, people. I am not going to say by this time next year, my intention is to be a millionaire, because it's cool if it does happen, but it's not realistic. You need to set realistic goals that you know you can smash without some kind of divine intervention, like a winning lottery ticket, okay? Or like some sugar daddy coming up and saying, "Here's $5 million. Don't talk to me again," which is
meant for everyone. So yeah,
I want that literally for everyone.
That's $2 million lottery right now. That's insane.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I like frown when I spend $1. So. So another part of that too is to get rid of your doubts. If you don't, again, believe that you're going to achieve those goals, you won't. That's it. And it kind of goes into keeping it simple too. When we set unrealistic goals for ourselves, we are damaging our own mental health.
You get overwhelmed, and that's not,
anxiety.
Yes. So getting rid of doubts, it plays a key factor, because if you believe you can achieve it, it's true. Because like, there's been so much research done on the placebo effect, and it's real. So once you actually believe, you can really embody it, and it's going to happen for you. So really, it's easier said than done. Fear should never be a definition or even something that you should feel. It should never even be possible, because then it's going to deter what you really want, which is your goals, desires, dreams, whatever it is. So killing doubt is definitely key if you really want to aspire to whatever it is you want to do.
That's right. Like if I believe that I will have a whole new roster by tomorrow, that's not possible, because there's way too many steps to get on the roster. There's a whole process beforehand. I'm not going to set that unrealistic goal, because then I'm going to be disappointed when I can't text nobody the next day. So my intention is there, but I have to take steps, and I know it's not realistic to set that time frame. For me, when I set goals, I do not like to set time frames. And if I have to set time frames, I set it way in advance. You know, this is not like MapQuest where you beat it by 2 minutes. You're like, yeah, because it was a challenge, because that is, when they give you that time, like the ETA, that's totally a challenge. And it's always accepted.
It's all gonna happen in what we like to call divine timing.
That's right. So beyond that, having intent helps you focus on the progress that you want. Helps you I can't read. Provide you with focus to progress towards what you want to achieve. It's been a long day and Luke has the flu for anybody watching. So listen, that can have me up at 5 a.m., 7 a.m. Like, girl, I didn't go to sleep till 2 a.m. So yeah. But anyways, it provides you with focus. What'd you say?
As I feel like you never sleep, you poor thing.
I literally do not sleep. Like, it's really bad. I need to start, but I won't. So beyond that, again, having intent is voluntary. You don't have to. You don't have to listen to anything we say to you here. But guess what? Again, without intent, you don't have a purpose.
Take it or leave it, people.
Right. Here are some other words that mean the same thing as intent. Aim, design, goal, purpose. Think of it that way. Okay? So if you don't have an aim, you don't have design, you don't have a goal, you don't have a purpose, you don't have a mission, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay in the same place because you have no intention to move somewhere else. You have no goal to move up to. You have no purpose that you feel like you need to, get into. You have no design. You have no aim. Like me, I have no aim. I'm 5'2". I can't play basketball. No aim.
You're not going to go anywhere, people.
Period.
So you can't, with the victim mentality that you have, you're not making any steps or moves, and you're going to be stuck in the same shit you're in already. So
that's right. And that's my next. I'm so glad you said that because that is my next point. When you set your mindset to go with intent and positive mindset, you're moving yourself from looking at it like a victim of your circumstances to the front seat driver of the car. Okay? Yes. You go from the back seat to the front seat.
You literally, once you do that, you'll stop suffering.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you're not like inwardly suffering anymore, you may look like on the outside, there may be stuff happening to you that you should be suffering from. But if you think of it like, at least this gives me the drive or some kind of, at least there's a roadblock, you're still on the road.
Yeah.
You're still on the road. And that's really what matters.
Yeah. So it's easier said than done. Of course, everybody is suffering some shit, obviously. But you have to switch your mindset to where it's like, okay, what is the experience is teaching me? It may be a bad day. Of course, you're going to have moments where you're going to be angry, sad, whatever the case may be. But once you shift your mindset to something more positive, as, okay, what is this experience teaching me? Because obviously, everyone learns from a bad experience. Take it as a lesson. And once you shift your mindset, you will stop that mindset from being a victim mentality or like, oh, like, why me? You need to get out of that, for real. So.
Yeah, so instead of why me, you're like, nobody else could have done this way but me. And I had to learn this lesson to get to this point. You think of it positively.
Through adversity, you change, which is good because then you're stronger because of it.
That's right. Now I'm thinking of Mulan. So I do have some graphics that I'm going to put up here. A couple of quotes here. Boom, putting them up. I wrote these out. I know it looks weird, but I didn't finish it. Our intention becomes our reality. Absolutely. Point blank, period. That's what we want. This is what we want our world to look like. And it may not work out that way, but the intent is there. Energy flows where intention goes, people, and it better be positive. Otherwise, you know how they say karma's a bitch? That's an understatement, okay? We live more from habit than we do from intention, and that is our biggest problem. We are literally just living from our environment, how we learn to live, how we learn to survive, whether it's paycheck to paycheck, which we're going to get into too, because finance is a big part of intent as well.
Girl, I have a story for you today. We talked earlier about what I had made the decision to do, and trust and believe, you can't believe the day that I had today because of it. But
we gonna chat. So I also have a quote here. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. Before I even move on, right there. Intention, effort, and execution. You have to put the work in, people. Manifestation. Go ahead.
You have to take aligned action. Just believe whatever you believe in, and you know that the universe is real. The universe is always trying to work in your favor and helping you get what you want. When you put it out there, you decide this is what you want. They're working towards what you want, but you have to take aligned action. You can't just sit there and it's gonna happen like poof, like a genie. No, that's not how it works.
Yep. And that's exactly what I was going to say. You can manifest till you're blue in the face, but manifestation is literally just intent. It's the same thing. You're intending for that to happen, but you still have to put work in, period. If I set a goal to where I'm going to lose 30 pounds by 3 or 6 months from now, I still have to do the work to lose that weight. It's not just going to drop off me like magic because I spoke it into existence. I have to work for it.
Yes. Discipline, believe it or not, it creates happiness. You have to take some kind of sacrifice for whatever it is you want to manifest.
That's right. So again, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Love that shit. So I saw that. I was like, ooh. So with that being said, here's another one for you guys. This is a mental health self-care wheel. I'm going to be posting it in the group, but pay attention to these right here. You have professional, physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, and personal. All of those matter. They are all intertwined. Okay? Intention directly relates to mental health, especially when it comes to anxiety and depression. You're never going to stop being depressed if you don't start thinking positively. Absolutely. It's hard. I know that. I have depression too, but you have to think positive.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. But yeah. I wanted to. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I clicked it by accident.
I wanted to. Well, when it comes to living with intention, whether you got people, whatever you believe in happens after the afterlife, what ultimately probably is going to happen is that you're going to have some type of life review. You will. And for me, I'm touching on something I discovered recently. It's based in Egyptian mythology, but basically what they believe in is that in the afterlife, like, you know, they look at your heart, which is your heart intentions, which whether you did either good or bad deeds. And basically it's the law of Ma'at, which is basically your heart is weighed against what's called the feather of judgment, or no, you go through a hall of judgment, and basically it's weighed against what's called the feather of truth. So whether you know it or not, your intentions throughout your life, it will accumulate. And, you know, whether you feel like, how should I put this? It basically touches on intention. You always want to have the good intentions out there for you, because with bad intentions, you're going to get that shit back, basically. Karma. So with what the Egyptians believe is that, you know, your heart records everything you've ever felt, or with either good or bad intentions, and also how you're feeling. So just be aware of that. Whatever you want to believe in, but I'm just putting it out there because I found it kind of cool when I was looking at some kind of tattoo that I wanted, that I realized it didn't mean what I wanted. So so there's this symbol. It's called the Ankh, right? And I thought it was like it represented both divine feminine and divine masculine energy. But then I just found out from a friend, he said, no, it's more like a tool. What it really does is anchors your energy into yourself as an infinite loop. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not getting that.
So again, just like you said, energy does not die. It just shifts. Okay. Make sure that when it shifts, it comes back to you the right way, positively.
Yes.
So a good way to step into living with intention is to practice mindfulness, period. Be present. You have to be, and this is why I put this right after the week before, which was awareness, self-awareness, because you have to be fully self-aware. That's really all that is. Being present, being aware of yourself, and being grounded.
Yes. It's easier said than done because we get so distracted with so many things. But again, with time, you guys best believe that present moment is the only time that matters. The past is already done. You know, you got to stop living in regret. Regrets is not going to do you any good, because you don't want to be on your deathbed. Okay, imagine yourself on your deathbed. You're going to think about all the things that you regret. No, you want to live with good intentions. Think like, oh, this is what I did. This is how I picked up other people. Like, this is the things I did positively with good intention. Like, leaving your own mark on the world. If that's what you want to do, again, it's not your life. You live however you fucking want it. But for me, it's like, okay. Sorry, I just completely lost what I was gonna say.
You're fine. So I don't want to change the subject if you're going to remember like what it is. I'll feel bad.
Shit.
We'll come back to it. So how do you know you're not living with intention? Let's start there. Well, here are some of the signs. You do a lot of things without thinking about it. You go to a store and you see a sale sign and you buy it just because it's on sale. You live your life on autopilot. Do you have a daily routine that's absolutely predictable? Do you make excuses to not try new things? Do you say yes to everything and pour from an empty cup? You're not making any progress on your goals. You feel like your life is missing something, but you're not sure what it is, but you know that there's something better out there. That's how you know that you're not living with intention. Period. You're on autopilot. And it's not a bad thing to have a routine. But
it's partially why it's called your depression, because you know what to expect.
Exactly. But it's the same thing as a habit. Habits are not good. Never good.
Yeah. It's basically a program. And people, whether you know or not, you should switch it up. Try to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and trying something new, because we're meant to be living every day as a new adventure. And back on what I remember what I was saying with time. Not you believe what you want, but time is a human construct. Time is not real. The present moment is the only present moment that really matters. The past is already done. Forget it. Forgive it and let it go. Whatever.
Let it go.
Stop worrying. Believe that everything is always working out best case scenario, because that's what the universe wants for you. So stop worrying too much about in the future. Of course, there's planning involved, all that stuff, but you have to get comfortable, which is easier said than done, because it took me a fucking while to be comfortable with being not knowing, being comfortable with the unknown. That's what I wanted to say.
Good. So getting back to moving into how you live with intent, decide what is important to you. What is important for you to achieve? If you died tomorrow, what's the one thing you would regret? That's what's important to you. It's the first way you have to assess what's important in your life. Now, when I say that, priorities, people, priorities are important. They should always be pulled. Yep. Accountability and priorities. Priorities does also about your finances, your health, the way you treat yourself. You have to make sure you're going to the doctors. No one likes it. You still got to go. You got to make sure you're eating. Now, when I say that, again, it is baby steps, because I'm guilty of this too. It's not just about eating healthy. Are you eating enough? That's a good question too, especially for us parents. We are on the go. How on the go? Always. Okay? But we're not eating enough. We just shove food down there. We'll grab a granola bar or something on the way out the door. That's not enough. We're not loving our body. You have to take care of your body, or you're not going to fulfill your purpose, because you're not going to be here.
Yes. Best believe the best glow up is when you really fully love yourself. And that's when the glow up happens, right?
Not right now, because I look like a farmer.
So you need to be very mindful of what you consume, not just like food wise, but even energetically, what you watch, consuming that way, and the people that you are surrounding yourself energy wise. Look at your circle as well. If they're toxic and negative, you don't need that energy in your life.
Period.
Yes. So, yeah.
Scissors. Cut it.
Yes.
So another big part of this is to create awareness by tracking. Track what you do. Simple way to change your behavior is to notice the behavior. Okay? Take a week or a day or a couple hours and literally write down how long you've done social media scrolling, emailing, reading the news, saying yes to requests for your time or a schedule, anything else that you would do on default without even thinking about it. Yes. Even jerking off, just to make it funny. But it's real. Make sure you're paying attention and being aware of what you're doing. By doing that also, you're going to help your finances as well. How I started with my budget was the same way my mother taught me. You get a pen, and a piece of paper and you write down dollar for dollar every penny you're spending in a week. How much you're getting in, how much is going out. If you can cut the fat, cut the fat. That's how you budget. All that money you said, I didn't need to spend $27 on Dunkin' Donuts this week. I could have put that $27 on my credit card and paid it down even further.
Make your coffee at home, people.
Yes, make your coffee at home. And if you need to, then you need a bigger cup. But another part about setting those goals that we talked about is to create a plan. Write a plan down. Like when I go on vacation, I have an itinerary. So I know everywhere I can fuck in public without getting caught. It's important to have a plan. Even if that plan is plan B, it's still important to have a plan. So, because you already defined what you wanted and you know what's important to you. So now you can write down and define what those goals are, the baby steps to getting to that big picture.
It's going to happen for you. Yeah.
Yep. And again, practicing the mindfulness and being present. You have to be present because you can't notice what you're doing. You're on autopilot if you don't practice being present. That's what I was trying to get out. I don't know why it's like stuck. But when you practice being present, like noticing your emotions and your feelings, like when you have a craving for something, write it down. I had a craving for blah, you know, like pork chops or something, or a butterscotch crimpet, whatever the case may be.
And for those people who want to avoid their feelings, just believe that feelings are not a negative thing. This is a human thing, a human nature, like a feeling. Your feelings are not good or bad. It's bringing you attention to something that you're ignoring. And for those of you who escape by either, you know, drinking or other kind of activities, those emotions that you ignore and decide not to feeling, it's gonna fuck you up later down the road, which is why anxiety, stress, and all this fucking stuff.
When you step into escapism,
all you have to do is feel those emotions, forgive it, and let it go. Once you start feeling, you start healing. Feeling is healing, people. It's one.
Yeah. Period. Love it. So how do you practice more being mindful? Because most people are like, yeah, I'm not sitting on the floor with my legs crossed and meditating. You don't have to.
No.
Start by active listening. When you're listening to someone, notice their eyes, their mouth, their gestures. What are they feeling? By recognizing somebody else's feelings, it's going to make it easier to recognize your own. Beyond that, mindful eating. Pay attention to the textures. Pay attention to how many chews it takes before you swallow. Fun fact, they say you should chew your food 10 times before you swallow every bite. Do you know that? I didn't, because I'd be shoving it. Yeah. It's like, okay. I'm shoving that food down. You're lucky if I chew it.
So it helps you digest better, yeah.
Right. But
enough water.
But by paying attention and making sure you're taking those 10 bites, you're not only being more present in the moment and more aware, you're also helping your body and your digestion. So, important. Also, walking. Just taking a walk, yes, clears your head. But how many of you are actually listening to the steps? How many of you are like feeling the breeze or noticing smells? Like somebody's barbecuing 3 doors down. You want to walk in that direction. It smells good. But if you're not paying attention, you're not even going to notice. Maybe they'll invite you and give you a plate. You never know. Not in Philly, but maybe somewhere else, you know? Also, cravings. Again, notice what you're craving. Why are you craving it? Why are you feeling that way? Now, this is something I also have to practice because remember, I have borderline. So me and feelings, we don't work out well. We got a hate-hate relationship, okay? Period. I am not disciplined in recognizing my emotions at all. I have an emotion wheel on my phone, literally.
That's okay.
Pull it up like...
We're all here, whether you guys know it or not. We're trying to navigate these emotions. Just believe, I don't like feeling these fucking emotions either. I swear. I don't fucking like it either.
So we're getting close to being finished here, but there's a couple things that I want to mention. Honorable mentions here. It's not going to happen right away. It is something you are going to work towards. We are creatures of comfort. We seek comfort. So it's easy to jump right back to what we're wired to, which is what we're comfortable with, that autopilot mode. It's going to be difficult and you're going to drift, and that's okay. Forgive yourself for it.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Get back on track. Just intend to do better and then do it.
It's not linear, but you'll get there.
So that's a good way to live better and live with intention. I do have a couple more graphs I'll pull up here. Boom. First one is a self-care wheel. Those are the ones I mentioned earlier that I will put up on the page. Make sure you're taking care of each and every one of these. Professional, because you need monies, people. Then bills got to get paid. Your physical, take care of your body. You only get one. And even though it's a meat vessel, It's still your vessel, okay? Personal self-care. I shouldn't smell you before I see you. Make sure you're taking care of yourself because then you feel better about yourself. Mental self-care. Make sure you're taking them brain breaks during the day. Do not work yourself 40, 50, 70 hours a week. Remember that you are an ass in a seat, even in your professional sense, unless you own your own business, in which case, slow down anyway, okay? The money will come to you if you have the skills. But don't burn yourself out because, fun fact, burnout could take 3 to 5 years to recover from. Not a week, not a weekend, 3 to 5 years. Emotional self-care is just recognizing how you're feeling and taking care of those emotions accordingly. And spiritually, take care of your spirit, whether it's your God or some kind of religion. However you do it for you and do it with intent so that you can take care of yourself. It's all self-care, people.
Yes.
So also another one, they all kind of look a bit the same, but this one is your life balance, okay? This is how you're going to move forward. Notice your physical environment. Notice your health, your money, your personal growth, your fun or social life, your relationship or your partner, career or business, and friends or family. This is what we have to balance. This is for you to fill in. It's a little fun sheet, but make sure you're noticing all those things. That's what's most important. And then I made these for today. I don't know where the other one is, but this one is a weekly snapshot. It's just questions that you can fill out. You know, what was a challenge you faced this week? Set an intention for the upcoming week. What made you feel happy this week? List 3 things you're grateful for. What was your overall emotional state during this week? And what'd you learn?
Yeah. Guys, journaling is a really good tool to use.
That's right. Because when you're journaling, you're noticing. You're bringing that intent. You can't change something if you don't know it exists. Most of us are toxic as hell. We just don't recognize it.
Exactly. Don't ignore those feelings, people. That's toxic as fuck.
Yeah. So, and then the quote we had when we got up, I just love this. My goal in life is to be one of those people who are just light. You see them and you suddenly feel so warm inside. And all you want to do is hug them. And they look at you and smile with the warmest light in their eyes and you love them. Maybe not in a romantic way. You just want to be close to them and hope some of their light transfers onto you. Yes. Be that person. Be the light. Be that warm hug.
Whether you know it or not, we're all beings of light and you can get there. That right. Fuzzy feeling is possible. That is if you're living with intent, also, you know, doing what brings you most joy and laughter. It takes a while to get there, but just believe it's possible. Absolutely.
That's right. Oh, I did find the other one. This is the last one right here. This is the other thing I made. It's a reminder, your daily schedule. Number 1, get up and get active. Get active. Most people here get active or work out or, you know, they set goals to lose weight and they're like, oh, I can't work out 30 minutes a day, but I bet you can work out for 10 minutes. So then work out for 10 minutes 3 times a day. That's what I did.
Small increments, people.
Small increments. Baby steps, people.
You don't want to wait till your health kicks you in the ass.
That's right.
Late.
There you go. Do things out of love and not obligation.
Yes.
Work out because you love your body, not because you're about to die if you don't. Okay. You know, again, make sure you're eating well and eating enough and take time for you. Important. I made that. I'm so proud of myself. Take time for you. It's important.
That's so important, people. We get so busy and caught up with your work life and family life. You don't live in the present moment and you don't take time for yourself. And then it ultimately kicks you in the ass, which has happened to me last month. It kicked me in the ass and I was just like going through it. And I gave up, girl. I gave up. And I feel like that's everybody. But easier said than done. It's good to take a moment to finally look at yourself and care for yourself and take a moment to deal with what you're not dealing with because it's important. So take that moment, eat it. See if you can apply for a leave from your job. Hopefully they offer that for you because your mental health, amongst all the things with emotional, physical, and spiritual health is so important because you don't want to be asked out and burnt out until it's too late. You got to work on yourself because then if you can't help yourself, then you can't help others. So,
and this also stems not just to your professional, but also your romantic. Do not let little issues build up because what's going to happen is you're going to explode. And sometimes there is no going back from that. When you see something that bothers you, address it.
Address it right
there. Don't be afraid to express your emotions.
Yes.
Expressing yourself to your partner should not end in an argument.
Absolutely. If it does, then you leave them. That's
right.
Him or her.
That's right. It's supposed to be you versus the problem, not you versus your partner. So keep that in mind. Intention goes through all those aspects that I listed earlier, romantic included. With that being said, let's all give Eileen an air high five for starting the live for us. You did great. Thank you for coming on, Eileen. And we will obviously chat after this. But for everybody else, I'll see you next week.
Yes, deuces.
Deuces. Was that intentional? No, I'm just kidding.